So, as Jill said, the know and be known is where we start to really dig into the specialisms of each individual here, and what we're doing in our lives. What we do is, in terms of our services and our products and our, what we put out. But also, it's getting to understand who is that person at the front of the room. Who are they? What makes them tick? Do I have anything in common with them? Is there something that I could use for the project I'm doing? It's about connecting those dots. Now, what I've noticed, Jill, is I've never done a know and be known about me. I've always done one from the point of view of what I do for a profession and be collaboration, okay? So what I wanted to kind of impress upon you, really, today's conversation, I can't weed those things out. They're in me. You know what I mean? They're like you just said, I'm an accountant. You can't just switch it off. You can't just switch off what you do and what you're about. But I'm not going to be talking today about be collaboration, okay? Although members will pick out loads of things. I'm going to be sharing with you my life today. And I don't get to do that. I don't think I've ever done that at be collaboration. Like really other aspects of my life that are not related to this. But it's all related, isn't it? Okay? So that's me. I was born in 1968 on the 12th of July, 1:35 a.m. And in a few weeks, I'm going to be 50. Who's 50 plus? 50? 50-year-olds? Oh, I feel young in this crowd. That's me and my brother. What do you notice about the two of us?
So cute.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's actually very astute, Paige. You're well pointed out. I was literally the dark sheep of the family. My brother was blue-eyed and blonde hair. My sister, we used to call her Shirley Temple. And you're going to see a shot of my mum. You saw my mum earlier on. And I thought that I was adopted, and I ran away from home when I was about 8 years old. And because my dad would always pick on me when something went wrong in the house, I'd get it first because I was the oldest. And this one time I ran away, and I vowed never to go back, and it started getting dark, and I started getting hungry, and I thought, well, they're not that bad, and until the real parents turn up, I'll go back. Not belonging has been part of my life. I've never really belonged anywhere. That was my journey. Never really belonged. I've never fitted in. I always was different to everyone else, including my own family. And my brother showed me that picture the other day, and I've gone, yeah, I remember that. As I said earlier on, I'm not going to talk be collaboration. I did also put here, when I originally did this slide, and I'm not going to talk about Jill. And I thought she'll get upset, storm out, and it won't go down well. So I'm going to say something about Jill later. But this is not about Jill. It's not about be collaboration. It's about me and how things are happening with me and what I'm doing out there. Okay? So my passion. A little while ago, we did in the car show. We did a car show, London Classic Car Show at Excel. And Jill turned up and she said, is this your life now? Because we were doing this big exhibition. It had taken up, a few months of work, getting ready for it. Big major exhibition. And I said, no, this isn't my life. This is my passion. I love cars. So is there anybody in the room that's into cars? Great! At least two people usually. Oh, yes, okay. Well, I'm not only into cars, I'm a piston head, right? So I really, really like cars. And what you're going to find out about me is that when I get into things, I don't just skim the surface. I don't know who here is OCD or gets obsessed with things and gets really, really into things, and people around you don't get into things like you get, but that's me. And if it's cooking, it's cooking. If it's hi-fi, I'll get into hi-fi. It's cars. If it's making a difference to people's lives, it's making a difference to people's lives. The guy in the picture is Chris Harris. Does anyone know who Chris Harris is? He's the person giving me instruction, and that is Eau Rouge in Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, which is one of the most famous. Next week. You going? Yes. So that's a major, for people into cars and racetracks, that is a major thing. And Chris Harris presents Top Gear. So he was training me there how to drive. And that was about 8-9 years ago. So there you go. That's. Anyone know where that is? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Yeah, very good. So that's the Nürburgring. And Nürburgring is a very special, very, very special place. It's the kind of mecca for car driving and go if you're going to go on track and you really want to have the full experience. And I'm going to explain to you why it's such an amazing place, right? People come from all over the world to drive the Nürburgring. Manufacturers test their cars there, and it's a really interesting track. And I'm going to explain to you why it is. Now, look at this, right? So, the ring is 13 miles long. So most tracks are maybe 13 miles. Yes, it's 13 miles long. It has 73 bends, and legend has it that 80% of those, the majority of them are blind. So imagine if you've got that many bends and you're going at full pelt and you're going over a brow and you don't know whether the track goes down and left or up and right or straight along. It's a real challenging place to be. Add to this, the ring is a public toll road. But let that sink in for a minute. That means you could turn up in your 911 GT3, your Porsche whatever, your Ferrari whatever, or in your little Renault whatever. Right? So anybody can go buy a ticket and go around the Nürburgring. When I first went to Nürburgring, I came back and I was buzzing. Have you ever come back and you're reeling and you're buzzing? These things are going through your head, right? And I went to a meal with a client of mine and his staff, his team. And he said, "Oh, you look happy with yourself." I said, "Well, I just got it from Nürburgring." He goes, "Oh, my mum and dad have been there." I said, No, Nürburgring, the racetrack." He goes, Yeah, the racetrack. My mum and dad have been there. I said, "How?" He goes, "They were on a coach trip and the bus driver decided to take them on the Nürburgring." Oh, hold on, I just got to plug myself in before I go. Oh, I'm in. So the bus driver took them around. So they go around Nürburgring on a coach, and when they go around the bends, he's telling them to get up and go to the other side of the bus so you can get the bus round. I've seen pickup trucks going round. The other thing about Nürburgring is motorbikes go around with cars. Cars and bikes don't mix well. So it's a really perilous. It's really perilous. It's a scary place. They call it the Green Hell, and it's got that name for a reason. So it's a public toll road. It's about 6 to 8 foot of grass either side of the track, and then there's Armco. So if you come off or you make a mistake, you're going to hit something really hard and it's going to hurt. Right? It's not a cheap place to just drive off into the grass and nudge the tyre wall. It is really, really dangerous. So, not much space for error. None of the Bedford Autodrome luxuries here. So this is a bit I took off a clip that I wrote back then when I first did it. And one of the things I said about Nürburgring is, who remembers Quantum Leap? Yeah? And he wakes up in his body and he's got to work out what's going on. I felt like I woke up at Nürburgring and we're going down the track like God knows what, and I'm absolutely petrified. I'm holding on to my seat and I've gone, oh boy, and that was it. I'm thinking, what's a 40-year-old man like me doing on a racetrack this late in my life? But one of the best things I've ever done. One of the best things I've ever done. Loved it. Okay, so that really drives home how dangerous it is. That literally happened the day we were there, you know, and people die on the Nürburgring. So when you go onto Nürburgring, there is no health and safety. You are literally, you're putting your life in danger to have that experience, and some people don't come back. That's the reality of the Nürburgring. So it's a really, really big place to be. You know, I think that's a wheel off a Porsche 911. Anyway, so the other thing I got from my track days and my track events, that's actually Bedford. I think it was my first track day. A bit slimmer, a bit more handsome back then. You don't have to agree, whatever. So, so that was my first experience. So if we think about the lessons here, there's always a first time to start something that you've always wanted to get into. Right? I've been talking about doing something like this for years. And at the age of after 40, I got my first experience on track. And now I'm going to show you how it's a major feature of my life. Okay? And really the title of this talk should be Life by Design. You know, living your passion, living your dream. Okay? That's Alton Park up in Cheshire, another famous track. And that's me at Spa, really living it, really experiencing this is something special.
Some selfie stick.
Huh? What's that?
Some selfie stick.
Now the other thing is I'm so into cars, I'm so into driving, I love it so much that I take my family on driving holidays. So we've driven to France a few times, we've driven, we go up and down the country. I would take a week off and just go driving because I love it so much. Now most people wouldn't want to do that, but then I don't go fishing and there's a lot of things I don't do. Okay, so I take my kids to car shows whether they want to or not, okay? Okay, so that's it. So cars is there, right? I even take my friends. On my birthday, we go to Goodwood Festival of Speed and things like that. So it's weaved into my life, my passion. It's weaved into my life and it's an expression that I have. And you can really tell I'm enjoying it. I love it, absolutely love it. Don't get bored of it. No one has to talk me into it. And I get so much from it. The other thing is it goes from the exotic to the everyday. That's my rally car, my Scooby. Broke down about 2 months ago. I'm still getting it fixed. So it had to go away like that. Very sad. But, you know, it's emotional. It has to be emotional. What's the point, right? If we don't get into emotion, we don't get viscerally connected to something that's important to us. So what's the point? You know? You're all or nothing, all or nothing. Now, this car is a very, very special car, okay? Now, this car here is really important because none of you would be here today if it wasn't for that car. And you don't know why I say that, but it is. This car was a car I bought, and every car I buy, I tune it up, I put suspension kits on it, upgrade the brakes. I loved this car. I loved how it drove, I enjoyed it, but it was poisoning me. And I found out literally recently, yeah, it was literally poisoning me. About 9 months, we couldn't work out what was poisoning me, and it was around the early days of me thinking about what this was going to be.
2013.
Yeah, that's right, that's when we met. Do you remember? I'd be in the, anyone that got in the car, I'd go, Sanjay, can you smell something? And you go, no, because I can smell something, there's something in this car. Sam, can you smell something? And you go, okay, and you know what he's like. Anyway. This car, apparently I found out from some old boys at the London Classic Car Show at the Jaguar stand that there's a foam in it that has cyanide. Who knew, right? The point was, we spent months trying to work out what it was, but nobody worked it out, I had to sell it. But what happened was I got so ill that I was, at the time, working as a Lone Range coach consultant. Who's here a Lone Ranger? Independent? Yeah. And I thought, if I got ill, so I've always had businesses. So you get ill or shit happens, you had something behind you to pay your bills and keep you going. If I get ill as an independent, what happens? You're screwed, right? And at that point, I decided, and I think Jill and I had only just met, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna set up an organisation. I'm gonna set up something that's bigger than me, and it's got to reflect everything that's important to me. So out of my passion, funny enough, turned out to be what my life's about. I guess it's all connected, right? Motor racing is really dangerous. People die on the track. This is Silverstone, and the guy in the car is a guy called Simon Rudd, who I coach. And he had a 110-mile-an-hour crash into the wall at Silverstone. And when he got out of the car, he was shook up. Really shook up. Imagine he's got roll cage and helmet and, you know, all the stuff that he's got. Now that's them putting the car back together in the pit lane. That's that car ready to go back on the road, on the track. Would you want to get back in that car and go out? And to be honest with you, we didn't end up going because it rained so much that day, the race was literally cancelled. But Simon would have had to get back in that and go back out. And the look on his face, and I'm Simon's coach. So I coached Simon Rudd. I started coaching around 4 years ago. And Simon he's a veteran car racer. He raced go-karts, he raced single-seaters, and he'd been racing the Volkswagen Cup for a little while before I met him. And he wasn't doing very well. He was finishing around 19, 21st out of 34 people, which for him isn't very good. Me, that would be like, yes! For him, that was rubbish. And I said to his father, I said, Phil, can I coach Simon? I think I can help him. He said, sure. He's open to it, we're open to it. And that season, we even got a big collaboration sticker on the car. That season, that's Donington, at the end of that season, yeah? So before was at the beginning of the season when I offered my help, and there's about 7-8 races a year. By the end of the season, 29th, 19th, he started that race on pole, and that's him at the front, going into the first bend at Donington, and he finished that race second. So my area of expertise, or my specialism, is working with people and individuals and groups and businesses and organisations, and we want to make this a global impact, is transforming human beings' experience to one of breakthrough. Any area you want to cause a breakthrough, we're creating that culture within this organisation. Did it, be cool. So my life's reflection was there before Be Collaboration. I had that commitment. Who has got commitments to things that they're not expressing yet? We all have, don't we, right? So there's something in you that's dormant, or it's sleeping, or it's waiting to be re-energised, re-irrigated, watered, nurtured. It needs a bit of sunlight. And there he is, getting his trophy. Really proud of him, really proud of him. There is fans and sponsors. People love him. We love him, and he loves us. See, people think sponsors is about, Phil Rudd, his dad says this story, he says, people think sponsorship's about give us the money, best sponsor is pay us your money and disappear. He goes, no, we want their partnership. We want them at the side of the track cheering us on. We want them to be part of it, to be engaged, to be invested. How many areas in your life are you just spectating or just on the outskirts, not on the court? You know, it's actually getting in there, making yourself a part of it. Look at it. That's me in the blue. I love it.
That's great.
We even get some really... What was that?
That's great song.
We even had Darth Vader visit, so, you know, the Dark Lord. And I had a few words with him about his ways, and he's going straight now. He's coming out of that. And he didn't listen, he just came and nicked the trophy and left anyway. That's my dad. My dad, that's our house we have a place in Turkey. My dad puts the car in the house.
Three-story house.
So he puts the car in the house, and then we come back to go to, you know, on holiday. First thing you got to do is get the car out of the house. Now, my dad used to drive us to Turkey by car when I was a kid, and so I've been all the way through Europe 3 times, Turkey and back. One time in 1979, we went to Turkey and Cyprus. We had a 3-month holiday, and I missed a month of school. It was brilliant. I loved it. I got so bored, I got a job when I was out there. And I used to work in this cafe serving Turkish coffees and things like that because I was so bored. But I loved it. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved having the maps. I loved showing my dad the way. And back then, we did it in a Renault 12, right? And the roads aren't like they are today. This, you know, obviously 78, 79. And I'd have to go, yep, go. And he'd pull out and we'd like, and every now and again I'd get it wrong. He'd go, you know, like that. So that's my dad, right? Now this is a garage we started to look at buying as part of the team that I work with. I also set up a car sales business. I've been involved with a car tuning business. I'm involved with racing drivers and also a race team that I'm involved in. And this is how sometimes things look at the beginning. They look crap. They don't look great. But this is where our vision and imagination starts to kick in. We turn that into that. And it took a lot. Do you know what it took? It took everything. And it's still taking everything because it's a big step from where we were. Big step. This is last Saturday at the track, and that's Simon's car. And this Saturday they finished it, so they're in endurance racing now, so they've upgraded. And if you stay in things long enough, guess what? You get better at it. And opportunities come up, and then more people want to buy into what you're doing, and things start to manifest. That car is a proper race car. It's not a converted car, it's a proper race car. They finished in the endurance racing. So endurance racing is 50 minutes and 2 hours. You go toilet, you come back, you have something to eat, and they still go round. It's amazing. And they do a driver change and a driver and fuel change on a 2 hour. So there's a lot they can get wrong. In fact, in the second race, they got it wrong and they came second instead of first, just by getting it wrong. So many things, so many elements have got to come together to be successful. How often do we fail when we get some elements wrong? How do we feel about that? What's the emotional roller coaster like? Right, this is a clip of Simon in the car this weekend. There's 2 hours of that. What did you get about that?
Pretty full on.
It is full on. Could you imagine doing that for 2 hours?
I bet that film doesn't actually do the speed and the noise and the
No. These are proper race cars, and it's on the limit. We're coaching for extreme performance, and we're tenths of seconds, and that matters. Imagine if we were being judged that harshly. Imagine if today that your times and your performance was being measured to that degree. How would we do? I don't know if I'd want to take that test. That's SOR my car. That's the car business we set up, and that's the content I've created over the last 9 months. There's around 45 videos, interviews, huge amount of content. Huge. Loads of interviews, track side, show side. I even got to do a podcast with the boys in the garage, and even got to interview Nigel Mansell. Who here knows Nigel Mansell? Legend, absolute legend. So the question I asked Nigel Mansell on behalf of Phil Rudd, Simon Rudd's dad, the night before we were having dinner, and I said to Phil, what question would, he said Nigel Mansell is coming tomorrow, but I won't be here. I'm gutted, I'm really gutted. He's my hero, he's my only one-time hero. Who here has a one-time hero? Someone that absolutely blows me away. Well, Phil Rudd was not going to catch Nigel Mansell. So I said, what would you ask him if you could? And he said, I'd ask him, after in 1981, he had an accident and broke his neck, and he was told he'd never race again. What was the first thing that went through his mind? Bearing in mind, that year he won the World Championship. So I got to ask Nigel Mansell that question. And at that point, he's answered the question. He goes, carry on as normal. That was his answer. Yeah. See, we're going to hit the wall at 100 mile an hour. Who here is at the wall at 100 mile an hour? Metaphorically speaking. And how many times have you hit that wall? How many times do you have to pick yourself up and go on? Hey, this morning? Yeah. Exactly. This is the SOR my car team, and that's a car that I drove a few months ago, last year. Hey? What's he say?
Just stay there. Don't move.
Can anyone spot the difference?
No, that's really me, I promise you.
She made the sound of my foot.
I don't made the sound, I made the action.
Yeah.
You keep heckling, I'm going to have to come over. Getting to do the things you love doesn't protect you from anything. That's the view from my bedroom. I live in the centre of Hertford town, and you see all the colour. And things started to change for me about 3-4 months ago. Things weren't as easy as I made them sound. I started to look at myself and think,
Sorry, did you think
I started to notice a different look in myself. I started to notice there was something off in me. And I started to notice that I wasn't who everyone thought I was inside. I was starting to sink. I was starting to sink, and I was hitting my wall over and over again. And I started to notice these pictures I was taking of myself. And then one day, I was playing around, just to drive it home, but one day, not that one either, that one. I noticed I was at home alone, and I was watching telly or doing something on the laptop. And I noticed I had this look on my face, and I couldn't see the look. And I just froze the look, and I took a picture of myself. And it shocked me. I thought to myself, there's something going on with me that I'm not dealing with. See, turning up here and playing the guy and doing the deed and being that for other people, I'd forgotten me. I'd lost myself. I was so out there for everyone that I'd actually lost who I was. And things started to look like that. Nothing tasted right. I felt like a heaviness and a weight in me that was almost took everything to get out of bed in the morning. You know, people say send an email, do this, and it was like a massive amount of confusion and panic about doing the most basic, simple things. I was sinking. And people around me knew I was sinking. The real kind of people who were close to me. And I realised that actually I was depressed. I'm highly trained. I deal with racing drivers and business people, and we drive a community. So I can get by. You didn't know all that was going on, did you, just now? You wouldn't guess in a million years. How many of us play those, we put on those masks and we go out there and, yeah. What I'd entered was a world of self-loathing and utter despair. Really. And about 4 weeks ago, it hit bottom. Boom. On paper, it looks great. And it is great. I was driving to Essex. Who was at the last Essex meeting? I shared this with you guys there, didn't I? That was rock bottom. I'm driving to Essex and everything in my body says I just want to go home and get under the duvet and hide. I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to be who they expect me to be. And my wife phoned me on my way up. And she said to me, darling, what's the one word that keeps going through your head? I said, oh, easy, I'm a loser. I feel like a loser, I'm 50 soon. I've got less money now than I've had in ages. I'm working harder than I've ever worked. Everything's going wrong. Cars are breaking down. My wife's car broke down. My sat-nav broke down. Yeah, ask Jill. Every time she spoke to me, what's going to break down next? Everything. It's like whatever I touch, what's the opposite of Midas? That's me. And I felt like a loser. And I felt like I had nothing to offer. I'm going to explain to you why in a sec. But let's first look at the word loser. A person or thing that loses or has nothing, or has lost something, especially a game or contest. Who here knows me well enough? I don't play games. I don't do Nintendo. I don't know if Nintendo's a thing. Xbox. I don't play cards. I don't play Monopoly. I don't play games. This is the real deal for me. And I feel like I'm losing. I felt like we're not making the difference. The world looks screwed. Who here feels like the world is screwed sometimes? You look at it. The global stuff. And this song is a song that I haven't played for a long time, and I started playing it. And it's by Annie DeFranco. And here is coming. I'm going to give you the lyrics, and I'm going to give you the link to the song. But one of the things she says, I'm losing my love of adventure. I'm losing all respect for me and myself tonight. I'm striding down the gravel driveway of desire, trying not to wake up my sleeping self-loathing. You can't sell me on your optimism tonight. Don't tell me it's going to be all right. You can't sell me on your optimism tonight. I don't think I am strong enough to do this much longer. God, I wish I was stronger. Gone. I feel like a deflated balloon. Nothing left. Got nothing left to give. Nothing. How can you be that for your father? As a father, or for your children, for your family, for your friends, for this community? We've built so much optimism and hope for what we want to do. And I'm like, I feel I'm going to have to bail. Jill's tried everything, by the way. Yeah, you can do it. I love you. Sort your shit out. Horrible emails. You didn't have to put them on autoresponder. That was just cruel. So here's some of my triggers. And it's not about me and my life and me making money, because I've always made money. It's not my problem. I get money when I need it. It was this stuff. People being shot on borders for protesting. I just can't be with it. Thank you, Dave. What does it matter what they're doing in Israel? Raise your vibration, man. It's all good. I can't be with it. There's a lot I can't be with. I found there's a lot I couldn't be with. And my resilience was dropping off really fast. By the way, this is the interesting thing. I'm in the process of designing the resilience program, and my resilience is getting tested to the max. Isn't that amazing? This is a piece of writing that was quoted by a guy called Mark Passio. And Mark Passio used to be a Satanist. He's worked in the occult and he was a Satanist. And this is what he wrote. Satanism is about me, all day, every day. If I could explain to you what Satanism really is, when you say the term, everybody's minds go to the idea of the Christian devil, the red devil. with the horns and the pitchfork and the tail. This has little to zero to do with what I'm calling ideological Satanism. Satanism chose that name because of the archetypal connection to, sorry, I'm losing myself, to the archetypal connection to the Christian adversary or opposer, which is what Satanism means in Hebrew. To the Christ consciousness, the higher mind, the connection to the higher self, the real saviour of the world, which is making that connection to the higher self and higher consciousness, and really being aware of what's going on within us and around us. Satanists chose that image because what they're really trying to do is keep people in low vibrationary oratory consciousness so they can ultimately be ruled and controlled and put into slavery and bondage. And I thought to myself, how many human beings are experiencing what I'm experiencing right now? I'm visiting. I kind of know I'll be out soon. How many human beings are living in utter despair and resignation and cynicism? What difference can we make to people? How many people are on antidepressants and other kinds of medication? And I'm not making judgments about people.
50% of all items dispensed in a pharmacy are
15%. 50. 50%. By the way, he was a pharmacist. So the greatest trick the devil pulled was to convince him that everyone that it didn't exist. They'll say we're disturbing the peace, but there is no peace. What really bothers them is that we are disturbing the war. And then these images. This one made me cry, you know, the original one, the little boy being washed up in Turkey. Put me in tears. Who saw the recent thing about separating immigrant children in America from their parents? Can you imagine you've fled a country to be somewhere else and you're being separated from your children? I've kind of worked out, I've probably done 20,000 hours of research, either in personal development, transformation, or this kind of stuff. So the thing I love the most, my passion, there's 14 companies, and this is old by the way, it's probably less than this now, own the whole global car market. If you look at banking, there's probably 5. If you look at pharmaceuticals, if you look at the news agencies, more and more power, more and more influence is in less and less people's hands, or less smaller groups. And we're being influenced by those things, whether we're resilient or we ignore it, whether we get into other things. And I want to talk about the other things, but these are the things that I've been researching for 25, 30 years. Just pick one or two that you don't know what it is and look into it. Everything from 5G to Tavistock Institute to the CIA. Do you know the CIA have offices in Hollywood? I mean, it's quite obvious now when you watch a film. It wasn't so much a few years ago. Fracking. Any one of them. AI, artificial intelligence, false flag operations, Satanism, transhumanization, that's one to watch out for. Now, because I'm compulsive, obsessive, I get into these subjects and I'm in them because I want to know why are things the way they are. If we're really going to deal with what's going on, we need to understand what we're up against. Everybody in this room, I assert, wants to make a difference, impact the lives of other human beings. But for the most part, what's really going on is hidden. That's what occult knowledge is. All occult means is it's hidden from the mass. See, I'm an esoteric person, so I need to know. I need to know how a car works. I need to know how to make the best curry. I need to know how things happen. I can't switch it off. So if I'm going to make a difference on the planet, I need to know what we're up against. A debt-based, infinite growth paradigm, money paradigm, isn't going to get us out of trouble no matter how much product we sell. If you don't know who Jordan Maxwell is, I think everyone should know who Jordan Maxwell is. This is his quote. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments. Mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained so that you don't get in the way of the important people by doing too much thinking. There's a term now called entrainment. It's a science. How to keep people glued to their iPads and how to keep watching the TV. Because in that way, we won't be too bothered about what's going on around us. And I know you don't want to know this. Who does? But if we're going to make the difference, at least we need to understand what we're dealing with. Yes, I'm a conspiracy nut. Because it's better than being a brainwashed sheep. My teachers at school, when I was in my secondary school, because I was so defiant, they used to call me Gaddafi. I think that's slightly racist, don't you? They used to call me Gaddafi because I'd never bought into what they used to say and they didn't intimidate me. And I'm not going to be intimidated. I had a call recently, a message left on my phone saying, we're watching you. Now, I don't know if it's a joke. So if it's one of you lot. But listen, if we're going to make the difference we want to make, we've got to wake up to what's going on. You know, and for me, it sums up the title of Jill's book, Fear, Scarcity, Competition. We're dealing with that paradigm. Keep people in fear, keep them fighting for what's there, keep them in competition, and keep them separated, divide and conquer. It's in our education system, it's in our money system, it's in our media. Can I go on? That's why we find it so hard to collaborate. Can you collaborate when you're trying to compete with people? So I kind of ended up with people, not a big fan. I was like, I'm done. Screw you, Paul. And Carol. Really, I was done. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of all of you. The hardest thing to deal with was that people don't want to know what's happening. And if you want to wake people up, I think there's a slide I didn't use on this, but it's a lady from the civil rights movement in America said, I freed thousands of slaves. I could have freed a lot more, but they didn't want to wake up. They didn't want to know. The only thing keeping us slaves is us. And this turns my stomach. Just 8 billionaires have half the wealth of half the planet. That's the system we're in. Car companies will end up at 6, the banks will end up at 4. Do you get my point? Now maybe it's too late for us. Who here's got kids? Yeah. Or nieces and nephews or whatever. While we all chatter around what's going to take, the waters are rising. 5G is on its way, and if you don't know what it is, you better get looking. It's going to affect every one of us. While all along this is happening in our education, in our media. So when the world looks like that, it doesn't look very promising, does it? So I spent a long time there, 20,000 hours. So let's talk about love, connection, and abundance. How do we get out of this dead end? How are we going to make the difference? What have I learned from this experience? Okay? Well, there's options. There's tools. We've got more information at our hands now than we've ever had. I love this quote. Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. We need to build a momentum of consciousness, of raising that energy. Osho said, nobody is superior, nobody is inferior, but nobody is equal either. People are simply unique, incomparable. You are you, I am I. For me, this community gives us the opportunity to show our magic, our beauty, our understanding, our insight in the conditions where people pull for it. And they go, Terry, you can. Don't they? Or if it's not someone pulling their hand down for you, you're reaching up for someone else's hand. I hope that in this year to come, you make mistakes, because if you are making mistakes, then you are making new things, trying new things, learning, living, pushing yourself, changing your world. You're doing things you've never done before, and more importantly, you're doing something. In this community, we are breaking our boundaries. It's not about big collaboration, it's about community. And then this one, the journey has to be based on passion. Put yourself in something you love to do. If you love what you do, you're able to dedicate yourself to overcome obstacles. Our fears don't stop death, they stop life. And there's my daughters. And then I'm the hardest crowd to please, sometimes. And I think, what legacy, what world are we going to leave for them? How are we going to leave them equipped for the challenges that they don't know are on the way? My kids make me laugh. Dad, look, there's a toilet for kids. This was in Turkey. Dad, look, I'm like, yeah, whatever, I know. All right, so you got a toilet for kids. She goes, no, look, see? See, Dad, there's a toilet for kids. I'm like, wow, there's a toilet for kids. That's my wife. People think, how amazing for Arza to be married to me. I'm an arsehole at home. I'm moody, I'm stroppy, I'm angry. Then she comes home and it's all right, no. So. That's my mum and dad. That's some guy I met in McDonald's. I was sitting there, because we were in there eating burgers, Beiju, don't look at me like that. We were in there using the toilet. I think it's Burger King, actually. This is in Turkey, and I'm dressed like that, and he's dressed like that. He's walked through the dog, gone, oi. He's looked through, he's gone, ah! Go back to that, I'm losing my love of adventure. I'd lost it, it's gone. That's Mont Blanc with my friend Roberto last summer. This is the happiest man in Hartford, Phil Joyner. Phil Joyner picks up, he's retired, insurance broker, he picks up rubbish every morning at 6 o'clock in Hartham Heath, where I go walking and running in the mornings. And he says, I do it because it keeps me happy. Pick up some litter today. See, the thing I got caught up in is it's got to be big, it's got to be massive. My dream is to impact the world. We didn't set up a big collaboration to make a small difference. We want to make a big difference. But we make a big difference to one person. And off the back of Sunday, Jerry Dalden sent me an email, off the back of Thursday, last big collaboration meeting, and I'm hitting rock bottom. And he says, okay, you know the story about the starfish? Do you all know the story about starfish? Yeah? Anyone don't know it? No. So there's a big storm on the beach, and there's all these starfish being kind of pushed onto the beach. And this man is going along, throwing the starfish back in, one at a time. And this other guy comes up and says, what are you doing? He says, I'm putting the starfish back in the water. He goes, you're never going to make a difference. He picks it up and goes, makes a difference to that one. He throws it in. Jerry sent me an email 2 days after the last Essex meeting. He says, you know the starfish story, Erkan? He goes, I'm one of those starfish, thank you. And something clicked for me. It wasn't like, oh wow, I made a difference. It was, there was something that penny dropped about it. This is not like complex, but it was like something shifted in me that I can only make a difference where I'm at. If it ripples out and makes a difference elsewhere, that's great. But we're making a difference right here. We're making a difference to every person in this community, every person in my life. You let someone out in traffic, it makes a difference. You pick up that one bit of litter, it makes a difference. You pick up that one starfish, you throw it in, makes a difference. And it taught me something I got of Jerry's email this 3 weeks ago, was humility. The lesson of humility. We can have grand plans, we can have big goals, but right now, Jerry's life got impacted. Paul's life got impacted. Take time out with your friends and wonder and talk. I stopped enjoying myself for the hell of it. Just indulge my enjoyments. And do you know who that is? That's Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister. Don't lose who you are. Jackie's thinking, I would have changed that outfit a little bit though.
It's a bit risky. Yes.
Don't lose your uniqueness. Don't sell out. Don't stop being Erkan to appease the system or whatever. Stand strong. And you'll find there's lightness. I read Jill's book over and over. Jill's book about what we're doing to regain my faith. I read it over and over again, especially the bits about me. But I didn't. I also read the bits that other people wrote. It's not a long book. Then suddenly the sun started rising again. And the day started to feel bright again. And the skies were blue again. You know, and there's still a bit of conspiracy theory in me, so there's got to be some chemtrails. And it's like it starts like it's coming up in a new dawn, a new way of looking at it. I'm going to give you this handout in a sec, and I want you to think about these questions. What does loyalty mean to you? Loyalty, love, friendship and camaraderie. I don't think we've been trained to hold strong to our communities. We've been trained to leave and go wherever the next thing is. To go and chase the next what's in it for me. And who's not guilty of that? Oh, only me. Getting that sense of adventure, that sense of humour. Be kind. Honour the things that make a difference. And these are my two big bits. Is belong. Be part of something that's important to you. You know, when I went to Alton Park this weekend, when I got there, I hadn't been for 2 months because I missed the last race. And it was like I was arriving where family were. They asked me, how are you? Simon's mum. And we talked for about an hour. I told her how I've been. She put her arms around me and gave me a big hug. You know, people said to me, oh, you silly bum, you muppet, why don't you give me a call? And I just had to go through it my way. So for me, resilience is out there. It's in the community. It's in the relationships. It's in the investments we make in others. And that is what's pulling me through, pulling me back up. No drugs, no antidepressants, a few too many beers maybe, too many. That'll go soon. And I just want to acknowledge Jill and Jill, Little Miss Perfect. It's hard to deal with you sometimes. And Kay, who probably out of everybody within the community had an insight into what was going on. Because I've been really off the pace. Really off the pace. And I'm nearly done. Am I on time? I haven't seen a time. Doing well, aren't I? That's 100 slides, you know.
Wow.
So this is a group of guys that I was away last summer with, sitting around a campfire, and we were singing songs. And these are the things I do that I stopped doing. I just want to share it with you.
I'm going to do something different. You carry on.
And recently, Anthony Bourdain, I don't know if you all know, committed suicide recently. This is one of his quotes. Maybe that's enlightenment enough to know that there is no final resting place of the mind, no moment of smug clarity. Perhaps wisdom is realising how small I am and how unwise and how far I have yet to go. And then finally, above all, to thine own else be true. So thank you, that's my known be known. So one of the strengths that really has come through for me is this community. I didn't want to make it about Be Collaboration, but community and having others around you that share your vision, share your passions, that will kick you up the arse now and again, give you a helping hand now and again, that really care about each other has been really critical for me. And I got out of, I'm out of this. I'm building it back up. I'm out of this, but without any suicide attempts, without any drugs, without anything. And I felt like it a couple of times, not suicide, probably drugs. Actually, probably drugs. But I didn't. And I just wanted to share how important that for me is resilience, is having the relationships and the people around you to make things happen, to support, because it's a rocky road. It's never that easy. So any questions? Thank you, by the way. What now? I'm going to be kind to myself, Beiju. I've been working on getting my integrity back, getting things done, getting things sorted, and just tick, tick, tick. I'm going to take it easier. I think less research and more being, and just more enjoying myself and being with people. And getting back into having fun and, mischief. So, for now.
So the hardest thing when you're in that space is reaching out. From what, and also there's an element of when you're in that space that you just got to let people find their own way out of it. You can't actually help that. And so what would you say from your experience of having come through?
I'm not an easy person to coach. Coaches, would you agree? People, I'm not coachable, and I'm a know-it-all. So phoning me up and going, "Hey man, just snap out of it," or whatever, doesn't make a difference, because I'm not a request for the coaching. But what I would say makes a difference is when people phone you up and ask you, "How's your day today? Do you need anything?" And just connect. Maybe come by and have a cup of tea, and go. And I think those really little things. Also, for me, within regards to Be Collaboration community, going to Essex last month, just having somewhere I had to be and be with the people that I trust and I care about, really makes a big difference. I think that experience of being lonely and hopeless and helpless and there's no one, I think that'll be the worst. And have no one, who knows what could happen to someone. So I think that's the key. Invest in those relationships when you don't need them. It's like doing the weeding when there's no weeds, it's good maintenance. And I think for me the resilience lesson here is I've invested heavily in my community. Both Jill and I have, and also all of you have. Colin has, Simon has, David has. Dave. When you invest in something, Beiju, well, everybody basically. When you invest in something, the returns are there. That's really what I got from this. And I think the other thing is, I think a lesson I needed to learn is I can't push this where it needs to go. I'm not big enough. I can't make that impact. But I, to the point where, I suppose it's all in there now. Common wisdom, isn't it? It's like, there's a I don't know if it's a Turkish story or an Islamic story about, this new prince becomes prince. I'm going to change the world, and he comes back and goes, I'm going to change our country, and he comes back and goes, I want to change our town, and then he finally goes, I'm just going to work on me. And I think it was that kind of epiphany. The thing is actually it's paradoxical, because I want this to be, intention from the beginning was it's self-organising. So there really isn't anything for me to do. And I've been criticised that you're not doing enough. So I'm like, okay, I'll step back. Now you've got to get involved again. Now you've got to get step back. The amount of times we've been told to get out of it and get involved and not be there, but be there. So I don't know what that looks like. I think it's these kind of conversations and dialogues is an evolving process. We want to make a difference. We want to make a difference, and we want to express our uniqueness. So I can't switch this off. I don't want to switch it off. But I think no matter what you do, you reach your barrier, you reach your limit, whatever that is. It's probably a culmination of things. And then there's the next barrier, the next level. Oh, was that you, Jill? Did you have a question?
Both of us.
Okay, 30 seconds. Jill.
Would you recognise it approaching again, and would you be able to deal with it differently?
Well, I haven't felt like this in a long time, so I didn't see it. Well, it's not that I saw it coming, it was obvious. I'm self-aware enough to know something was off. I don't know. It'd be different, wouldn't it? I guess it's different every time.
How are you today? Do you need anything?
Oh, I'm good today. I'm very proud of what we're doing. I'm very proud of myself. I'm very much enjoying. I want to make enjoyment a daily experience. Like that's going to be something I want to bring back into my life, rather than the mission and the cause is the enjoyment. And there's things I'll make a difference to. There's things that what we do will make an impact to something else, the ripple effect. And there's some things we will never know. Who knows? If Jerry hadn't sent me that email, who knows whose lives he's been making a difference to, you know? So I think there's I guess in the space of humility, there's just be self-expressed authentically, and it makes the difference it makes. It doesn't make the difference it doesn't make. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.